Newly compiled data on opioid overdose shows the crisis is 3 times worse. Phil Lindemann with your news from Avalanche Physical Therapy on Krystal 93. First, local fire danger jumped from moderate to very high today after several days of hot, dry weather and gusty winds county-wide, up to 53 miles per hour at Arapahoe Basin today. The Forest Service just approved 8 miles of new and improved trail on Frisco Peninsula. Plans call for over a mile of new Nordic trails, 4.5 miles of new summer trails, and improvements on more than 2 miles of existing trail. Frisco's been hard at work there since 2019, cutting new trails like Treasure Vault and Excelsior and expanding the Lakeshore Loop. The FIRC Thrift Store in Dillon is closed indefinitely to shopping and donations due to a lack of staffing. It closed last week, but FIRC Executive Director Brianne Snow posted a photo to Facebook yesterday showing bags of clothing stacked 4 feet high on the curb in Dillon. Instead, take your clothing to Animal Rescue Thrift Shop in Breck or Housewares to the Restore in Silverthorne. The FIRC is still taking food donations at the Silverthorne office. 2 people have died of opioid overdose in Summit County this year. But that is just a glimpse of the crisis. Jen Ossie, the clinical practice manager for Summit Fire and EMS, recently ran the numbers for local opioid overdoses, and she was shocked.
We ran what we might suspect to be overdoses about 3 times in 2018, 4 times in 2019, and 13 times in 2020.
And chances are, the number is even higher.
Those are numbers that are really hard to track. We respond to people who have all kinds of complaints, but in this particular situation have a depressed respiratory drive. We don't always know if it's an overdose.
Paramedics and law enforcement use Narcan to counteract overdose, but that requires a call, and many victims are alone or with people unwilling to cooperate.
We're here to save people's lives and make calm out of chaos, make a bad day better.
OC says the best remedy for overdose is prevention, starting with local resources like Building Hope. If you know someone who is struggling with opioid addiction, make the call now. Their services are free at Building Hope. We've been reviewing the hotly contested equity policy at Summit School District, described by administrators as this.
Provide those systematic structures for people to be able to ask the right questions.
The policy says, quote, institutionalized racism and systemic oppression due to language proficiency continue to have the largest impact on student performance, interpreted by one group of concerned parents as this.
It's basically dividing kids up into oppressor and oppressed. You know, they're being taught, white children are being taught that they're white supremacists.
We invited education policy expert Danielle Gonzalez of the Aspen Institute to review the policy. She praised it for opening a difficult conversation.
So I appreciate the board and the district moving forward to advance the policy on this topic. It's obviously a hot topic in education and in our society overall. So it's important that our public officials are communicating an understanding of the issues.
She thinks that puts Summit schools on the right track, but with a long way to go.
To apply a critical lens from both sides. Why are we doing this? What could we be doing differently? How do we ensure that our students have the skills and the competencies to be able to ask these questions themselves?
She believes Summit could model its policy on other successful districts, like Las Cruces, New Mexico.
If we're going to allocate money, if we're going to allocate time, if we're going to allocate people, how do we do that in a way that best serves those students who have been historically marginalized or furthest from opportunity?
Summit Schools is currently reviewing an overarching strategic plan based on 14 public sessions and drafted by a committee of students, parents, and staff. This is separate from the equity policy. All this weekend is GoPro Mountain Games in Vail, where pros and locals mix it up for kayak, paddleboard, mountain biking, and trail running. Competition continues through Sunday, free to spectators. There's also live music starting tonight with Yonder Mountain String Band at 6 p.m. Bob Weir and Wolf Bros play tomorrow and Saturday. Both shows sold out. In sports, the Rockies face the Marlins today at 5:10. The Avalanche need a win against the Golden Knights at 7 on NBCSN. And in local sports, brought to you by American Family Insurance, the Weiss Agency, Summit High Track and Field is boiling in Grand Junction today for the league meet, where temps are in the upper 90s. Tigers baseball is also out in Junction for the season finale, and boys lacrosse plays Steamboat at home. Yesterday was opening race of the Summit Mountain Challenge Town Series at the Frisco Peninsula, where Breck's Taylor Sheldon won the men's and overall mountain bike race. Claire Hansen took the women's crown, Jackson Carls won the junior boys title, and Ayla Harmala won for junior girls. Next race in that series is in 2 weeks, June 23rd. Phil Lindemann with your news from Avalanche Physical Therapy on Krystal 93.